Nope. I got nothing.
The man said his piece, so it's time for us to peace out and move on to Pokemon World Championship on Honolulu. And there's a couple games that were played at this Worlds event. This is the culmination of everything from the year, all the different international majors. From, I believe there was one in New Orleans, and I can't remember the other one that happened earlier this year, but this is the final one for 2024, and we'll be looking towards 2025 after this point. There's 4 major games that were played here. Pokemon TCG, the card game. Pokemon VCG, the video game. Scarlet and Violet, I believe. Yeah. Pokemon Go and Pokemon Unite. This possibly might be the last major tournament for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Rumoring, I guess, that we might be seeing a new Pokemon game this fall for the video game competition here. All right. From there, I want to bring us... Yeah, let's move on over into the results on article from Dextero, because we do get a lot of better information from this. And we're going to start with Pokemon Unite. Pokemon Unite has been such a wacky game overall, but it's nice to see that these teams are actually winning money. Because I believe in the last one we saw, there was like 0 prize pool or very limited prize pool. But it was tough pickings out here because Fennel at the top running the board. They were projected to be the winners, and they came out the winners, and they just outclassed a lot of teams in a lot of ways with picks and bans as well as play. They were able to be flexible. They were able to make moments happen and win the game. They take it over Zora Tigers Gaming, winning $100,000, but Zora walking away with $75K, not too shabby. Nick, did you get a chance to watch any of Pokemon Unite this past weekend at Worlds? Because I know you and I have very strong opinions about a game like this, because we do feel like the mobile aspect of it and the design flavor make it harder to be competitive on a serious sort of level.
There's more of an upfront cost with this game in order to like be competitive, unlike other esports just in general. I didn't watch any of Pokemon Unite. I did keep. I was watching Pokemon TCG, but that was the only one that I caught over the weekend, or just in general, not even just over the weekend.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of Unite, but then I was also watching Pokemon Go here. And Pokemon Go is pretty interesting. We had a 16-year-old take first place Worlds. And usually I know there's brackets, but for Pokemon Go here, he was able to take it on the main bracket. Yakai walking away with $20,000 first place here, which feels pretty low. But I know we were also talking about like this is definitely more of a mobile aspect game. But even for World Championship here, first place only being $20K. He ended up beating Inadequates for the first place round in the finals. I got to watch that round. That was exciting because Inadequates basically just gave up at a point. He knew he was beat because he got licked down by the Lickitung, and he had a Giratina who just couldn't fight back. Like, it was just not effective moveset into a Lickitung, and Yakai was able to hold that Lickitung to the last moment and really just get that advantage for the win there, where Inadequates just couldn't pull through on energy or just that. So it was a really exciting finals match. I'm a little disappointed in this prize pool, especially for a game that's so massive around the world. Be it is a mobile game, but what do you have to add?
I have a point. Let me put my glasses on, push them up. Just remember, like, prize pool is small because the owner of this game refuses to put any prize support in. No, remember, Pokemon does not own this game.
Really?
They don't own it.
This is owned by... It's a Niantic game. It's a Niantic.
It's Niantic.
But they have to be licensing.
Pokemon and Nintendo does not, like, it's a Niantic game.
Right.
Yeah, they are associated with it. They do make money, but Niantic makes the money on this game.
Yeah. I'm a little skeptical on that because I know Pokemon has a strong litigation team, and they also have a strong licensing sort of requirements. So I'm surprised that for this they maybe weren't planning on it being, but then they're including it in their World Championships as well. This isn't a Niantic run event. This is a Pokemon run event. And I believe last year Pokemon Company made $10 billion with a B dollars, which was about how much Zelda, Mario, and a couple other games combined made for Nintendo. Or yeah, I think that was the stat. So like Pokemon is a powerhouse when it comes to that money, etc. And like I would argue that Niantic has been struggling recently, but like at the same point, they're probably doing just fine. For them to only put $20,000 into a prize pool for the Worlds this year feels real bad. I mean, granted, it's more than $20,000 for the complete prize pool, but either way, a first place for $20,000 feels bad, man.
Niantic, by the way, made $700 million last year. Like, just like by comparison, this is what I'm saying. Like, the owner of this game does not have prize support for this thing. And everybody who plays this should feel blessed that Nintendo and Pokemon are like, bro, come on under our umbrella. We'll give you some prize support.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that they're not able to strong arm a little bit more of their organization licensing and whatnot, because it is completely property. And like you look at any of the other Niantic games that they made in the same mobile thing, they made a Harry Potter version of Pokemon Go. They have a Monster Hunter one. I'm not sure how well Monster Hunter is doing, but I know that that Harry Potter version tanked, already closed. So like it doesn't seem like other IPs are really nailing it in that sort of format. So Niantic, I don't know, they should be kissing up to a Pokemon company for this stuff. And I think Pokemon Pokemon should leverage it a little bit harder here in the championships, because this is what it's all about. It's probably the most accessible Pokemon game out there, especially for a competitive aspect.
No, hell no. Pokemon TCG is hands down super easy. $50 for the World Champions deck, by the way. $54.
Awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah,
to
this
hear,
is why,
I'm saying in my agreement for why Pokemon Go would be is because everyone has a cell phone and it's free to start play, and like literally you can go around and just capture. But yeah, it is more time intensive possibly than the TCG. But you know, unless there's another sort of point to make here on the Pokemon Go prize pools and meta, etc., let's move into TCG.
Okay, let's go.
All right, here we go. For TCG, there is 3 divisions. You juniors, seniors, and masters. To be playing in juniors must be born in 2012 or later. So you have to be 12 or younger. Seniors, you have to be born between 2008 and 2011. That's that middling sort of pack sort of situation, which I believe makes you have to be between 12 and 18. And then masters is you have to be born before 2007, which makes me feel old. But anyway, for the prize pools and the winners groupings here for the juniors, we had Sakuya Ota walking away with $50,000. First place. Congratulations on the junior champion here. 2-1 victory over Logan Bailey. All right, moving into the next prize pool for the senior division. It was a 2-0 win for Evan. Congratulations, Evan Pavolsky. $50,000 going into your pocket, walking away, hopefully, you know. And we've talked about this before. Pokemon is fantastic when it comes to stipends, right? They fly people out, and I believe for these younger divisions, they fly their parents out as well. Imagine getting like a nice stipend here to fly out to Honolulu, Hawaii, and then win $50,000, right? That's amazing. And that's great support. That's why the Pokemon Go stuff feels way worse.
Yeah, I mean, it's not their game. That's why I was saying their games, they're like, yeah, everybody in the fam, bring everybody along. They're like and like speaking on like TCG just in general, TCG, like if you go to the LGSs when local game stores, like when Pokemon weekly tournaments are happening, like it's like, you know, moms or dads bringing in their kids. You know, like they're literally bringing in their kids, like both people will play in the same tournament, because it doesn't get separated out at LGSs, just get separated out at these like big tournaments. Yeah. But the game itself is very balanced, like especially like right now, like I'm not even joking, like as a Magic the Gathering player, hear me when I say that the game is incredibly balanced. The top deck that won Iron, oh my God, it's called like Iron Barbs.
We'll take a look. Yeah, we'll take a look at the deck percentages and the compositions too. Yeah, but like in a second.
Yeah, but it's just balanced. The value to get into it is every deck is like under $100 for the most part. Like the one that won just spiked to $64.87. Like if you were to buy everything at the cheapest possible, like it's a very accessible game, and it's very, you know, it's not easy to learn, but it's for ages 6 and up. Right. Think about it that way. Like it's 6 and up game. Magic isn't like that. Digimon isn't like that. Like One Piece isn't like that. everybody's standard decks are over $300 plus or $2,000 for the current TCGs that exist, except for Pokemon, and they're heavily not balanced. This is a very balanced game.
It's good to see. It's a good feel, especially when they're continued to be so competitive and like provide that support overall from the local game store all the way up to the World Championships here. So it's excellent to see, and like a big shout out to one of our friends who just started playing Pokemon for exactly the reasons you're saying here. And I believe they were able to pick that up and like have a couple people around them play. So like, you know, it's not just an event for you. It's not something to jump in and be a community. It's like you can jump in and bring your friends and family to play as well. Shout out Ewok. If you're watching, listening, let us know. But, you know, it's a very accessible meta. It's a very accessible game. And it really comes down to a lot of individual mental, mental strategy and mind game, but then also into just like, you know, that strategy of deck, you know, luckiness and not. I watched a few matches that ended up being Regidrago versus like a Charizard, and like it was a little bit unlucky, but to watch those players pull something out of nothing was really incredible to see when one deck had a little bit of a disadvantage technically, right? But anyway, moving into the Masters division, Fernando. I'm sorry, I'm not going to pronounce the last name there because I'm not going to butcher it, but Fernando walking away with $50,000 first place. Senosuke walking away in second place. The match was a 2-1, fairly close. I believe it's it has to be a best of 3. Walking away. So it was anybody's match, and Fernando walked away with first place. Congratulations, both these players doing a great job in this game, in this meta. So that, Nick, at this point, I'm going to swap us back into the double screen so I can, switch us, but I need to switch us into basically our results for Worlds, the deck results, percentages, what we were just talking about. So here we are. Event was 2024 World Championship, and the number one deck was, what is it? Can you walk us through this a little bit, Nick? I'm having a little hard time seeing.
So this one is for teams. That one's for
team results.
That's team results. So like that's this is for the VCG tournament.
Ah, okay. So we'll get into
VCG. So this one's for.
We'll get into VGC in just a second. I thought we were looking at the deck, card game.
Like there's. So the decks that are like really solid right now, there's literally 6 decks that are incredibly playable and are all balanced, right? It's going to be Iron Thorns. You have the Charizard deck, which is super easy to build. Like even if you wanted to pick up playing Pokemon TCG right now on your phone, you could build the Charizard deck pretty like easily overall. Raging Bolt, right? There's the Lugia one, and there's Raging Bolt, and then there's Gardevoir. Right? All of these decks do different things. They're all unique. They're all playable, and they're all competitive, and they're all cheap. It's awesome. I don't know how I would go into this if you're not like a Pokemon player, just in general. It'd be a little bit harder to explain. But for the most part, like Lugia, which is like the second most played deck, at like 14% of the meta share for their standard. Okay. The deck made 63rd. Like the top result for Worlds was 63rd. Okay. The top deck, Regidrago, the top performance on it was 8th place. You get Charizard, 10th place. A Raging Bolt, 6th place. Iron Thorns was the winner's deck for $64.83. That's you can build that right now. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, one piece is thousands of dollars to play in standard. To play like right now, Magic the Gathering is $500.
Is that a rarity issue? Is that a collector's issue? Like, what is that?
Because Pokemon wants to make sure that their players can play at reasonable prices, so they will sell bundles and stuff like that have alternate art versions of the cards, so that they're not like the chase versions of the cards or something like that. There's a chase, and then there's a regular one that happens in the set. and they're, you know, and then the regular one will come out in bundles, or they'll make a new alternate art one in like a $15 bundle. Like you can grab Charizard bundles right now that you can pick up the Charizards instead of cracking them from packs or buying them singular. But like you can always buy these like singular in general. So like Pokemon in general wants their players to play. They want to be able to make sure that their players are playing at the LGSs, that it's viable for them to go to tournaments, because all of this, including Worlds, generates more money, unlike other companies.
Yeah, and like that's such a weird thing that Nintendo and Pokemon have done in the past. Like Nintendo will stifle an esports scene almost a lot of times, and then Pokemon will kind of does the opposite. They're able to like enfold that, and like that's one of the big reasons, besides all the merch they're able to sell at the Pokemon Center at Worlds, they're able just to like include you and have the feedback loop work in a positive way where players feel good. I rarely hear people complaining about Pokemon, the card game, the same way that I hear Magic players complaining about Magic the Gathering, right? And like I don't think that's a hyperbolic statement. I think players are generally happier with Pokemon than they are with the state of Magic.
Like yes and no, right? Like overall, like Magic's a fun game, and basically it's just the ideals of the company is usually where people are coming down that makes a problem for all their players. Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, they're one of the worst companies I've ever seen in my whole entire life. The people running it right now need to be like run over by 18-wheelers.
Come on, that's like, strong.
I'm not even joking. Like in comparison, right? In comparison, Pokemon has booster packs. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Cool, they have booster packs. They have tins that contain booster packs in them. They have things that contain the booster packs in them. Magic the Gathering has a now play booster, where we used to just have like a booster pack. Now it's a play booster. Then there's a collector booster, which has alternate art cards that basically you can try to get, with secret cards that come out from that are reprints and blah, 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 and this, that, and the third. And then they're now deciding, and I'm not even joking with this, they're taking the rares out of your packs and they're selling you a pack with no rares in it. I'm not even fucking with you. That's what Wizards of the Coast is literally doing, and Pokemon is selling you packs. That's it. Like I'm not even joking. Like there's a pack of cards.
That might be a rant for us to go into next week, because we're going to be expecting the updated ban list for Magic the Gathering. So we'll see what kind of updates that happens next week there, and that might be something we can kind of bring to light a little bit more about the habits and the behavioral of Wizards of the Coast and how they're selling the game versus Pokemon here. But I was able to bring up actually get a day 2 final standings with deck list. Let me just make sure it's just readable. There we go. And we can see, the stuff that won. Iron Thorns taking it number 1 with a 14-2-0 record, drawing out twice. Roaring Moons was the competition and the finals here. With a 13-3 record. Miraidon, Regidrago, Raging Bolt / Teal Mask, Regidrago, Lugia, Arctops, Charizard, Pidgeot. That's the first Charizard we're seeing, Charizard EX with the Pidgeot EX, and they placed 10th. So yeah, I think you did kind of I think you did recap a lot of the decks here, and a lot of this stuff doesn't seem accessible. I think I saw the Regidrago deck you can buy right now for $200, which is still leaps and bounds less than any Magic deck. Well, not any, but a lot of Magic decks.
That also depends on like art and stuff like that too, right? Because I guarantee you can get you can get the price down on those things. But like the thing that everybody should take notice of is when you stare at this final for the top 22, right? Words stand out to you, but they're not all the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Miraidon EX is going to stand out at you because it's like an M word, right? But like if you look, they're just like it's very spaced with how close Iron Thorns is compared to the next Iron Thorns on this list, right? Which is 18th. 1 in 18. That's like that becomes player skill, player issue, stuff like that. So like, as I was saying, like all of them are pretty close together. They all do different things. They're all pretty competitive and they're all relatively cheap.
Right. You're seeing like 5 or 6 different deck types have some representation here. I think the only one that kind of stands out as being unique is Chen Pao right here. And like,
yeah,
if we scroll down, I don't see another one in the top 50 perhaps, but like this could have been that, like they had good matchups kind of mentality, right? Like, and that's a lot of this too, but like, it's still healthy to see here. You know, Iron Thorns having 10% representation in the top 20 rankings, right?
Yeah.
Lugia having like 3 or 4, 5 different decks being played, 3 or 4 in the top 20. Reggie Drago, definitely by far the most representation, probably likely the strongest one.
Makes sense.
But even then, they weren't able to make the moves. The V-Star version or the EX. Not the EX, sorry, I'm looking at Charizard. But yeah, you have a lot of variety here. You have a lot of counterplay here. So it comes down to matchups, comes down to a little bit of luck of what you draw, a little bit of who you're getting placed against, and then a lot of player skill to see how you can overcome it. So it's definitely something you love to see. And I know we can harp on how Magic, cough, cough, Grief hasn't been doing it, but you know, well, maybe that's that part of the conversation we'll save for next week there.
Hey, Billy here. Wanted to take a quick minute to let you know a few different things. If you enjoyed the video so far, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps us out and it tells the algorithm to share it with more people. You can find the Esports Meta live every week on Twitch and YouTube. It's where we film the podcast or hang out, play games, and chat. If social media is more your vibe, check us out on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, or Twitter if you use Threads. Does anybody use Threads? This is a video game community that's excited to talk about esports, so jump into the conversation. Of course, you can find more videos like this here on YouTube. Just hit that subscribe button right there or there. Thanks for watching, and let's get back to the show.
Yeah, no, it's like for me, it's just more about like, you know, how well, you know, I should take the positive road on it, right? Like how well Nintendo or the Pokemon company is treating the wallets of their players just in general. And again, Pokemon is a very collectible game. Like recently, the prices and stuff like that, it's a little bit of a different story. But like overall, Pokemon, like besides the CT scanner too, like whatever. But like that's a different story. But like overall, they have a very good relationship with like their players just overall, as far as like TCGs are concerned. And to speak on like the Drago and stuff like that, like Drago's expected to be like in so much of the top 22 right there because it's literally 30% of the meta share. Like a lot of people like this deck. It's kind of where Charizard used to be months and months ago when Charizard first came out. Like it was very easy to pick up. It's very easy to understand, very easy to play. That was Charizard. I literally do not play the Drago deck, like the Reggie Drago deck. So, you know, I don't think it's really that hard to play against because I play Charizard. I've had Charizard for months. And just to let you know, Chen Pao, right, is like an 8th. It's like an 8th deck. As far as like the meta share is concerned.
8th what? Like okay, representation. Okay.
Representation, right? And yeah. Roaring Moon, which got 2nd, is 10th place. So like usually what that means is like these players that are playing these decks enjoy these decks and are very good at piloting these decks. Is usually what it comes down to, which is why they performed like so well. But that goes to tell you how balanced the game is.
Yeah, especially for the world stage, right? Like this is the biggest tournament of the year, and to see this much diversity in that, literally and figuratively, you know, it's great to see. And like definitely a lot of good points to be made there. But at this point, I do want to move us into VGC because we've been running for a long time. We're running hot. So let's move into the video game aspect and take a look at the prize winners for that. Kevin Hahn taking first place in the junior division, 30K prize pool in his pocket, winning a 2-1 against Tatsumomi Shimaki. I'm fumbling over myself. I apologize. Tatsomi, congratulations on 2nd place. 20K in your pocket. Then we're into the senior division for the video games. This was, I did catch a couple of these. These were some exciting matches and some like very interesting meta shifts as far as who they're playing. But we got Rei Yamanaka walking away with first place, $30,000, beating Luke Kroll 2-1 in the finals. Congratulations, Luke. Congratulations, Ray, on first and second place. And the VGC Masters division, Luca taking away $30K. And this is the one I did bring up a little bit earlier. I had some incorrect information, but top results in the team that Luca was running here. And this was the interesting thing, because you're starting to see a lot of different people. You see some duplicates as far as, multiple characters that are Pokemon that people are running, but you're seeing the strategy and what people thought their read is the meta and how it worked out. And generally speaking, top four, just a handful, but it's almost like a little bit of rock paper scissors here, right? You have a Pelipper to kind of counter some like aura, what's it called, the battleground effects that's out there. You've got you've got the Gardevoir going in, making some the Hisuian. This isn't the Hisuian, but Iron Hands. I can't remember the name. It's anyway, right? You're not
Makuhita?
I'm sorry, Makuhita. Yeah, Makuhita.
I think so.
Hands. You've got a lot of variety in the teams being chosen here, and that counterplay and pickability and what they're able to do. And like again, it's going back into the card game sort of mentality. You love to see this, right?
Yeah, no, Urshifu is a big, nice standout for the tournament, right?
Yeah.
You can see him bottom left, right? The number 4 slot. And then there's, some uniqueness going throughout it. But, Pokemon VCG is a fun beast. And, they only get to have 4 of these guys per round. So like when you're like each for the match, you'll have it'll be like first to 3. Or whatever it is, right? I can't remember exactly. Like this 9. He had 9 wins, 2 losses. But you only get to pick 4 of your Pokemon going into each battle, basically. So like what your strategy is and everything like that. Unless they changed up the meta, because I didn't watch this one. I was only watching the TCG overall.
Yeah, it was something. It was cool. And like you said, Urshifu is like the one consistent in the top 4, top 5. But generally speaking, like you're seeing a huge variety of different matchups, different Pokemon being played here across the board. So again, very exciting to see. And I got to watch a couple rounds of it, and like the mental aspect of it, where what you're putting out when was a huge part of it, and it always is in the VGC. But that's like the little thing here we wanted to point out, where it makes it that much more exciting, because you do need to land that, you do need to hit those accuracy moves, but at the same time you can set yourself up with advantages, disadvantages, you can buffs and items, etc., and it makes for a very exciting match. It's always fun to watch.
Yeah, no, it's definitely always fun to watch, and there's always some weird stuff that ends up happening at some point in VGCs for the year, like some random Pokemon, or a player literally attacks his own Pokemon instead of like attacking the opponent to win the game. Yeah. Like this has literally happened before, so it gets a little crazy. There's been some spicy stuff that even happens.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of trying to point out too with the Among Us in number 2 and the Pelipper. Let me make sure it is a Pelipper. Yeah, I was right. That creates a little bit of a different variety to counter some of the things you might be expecting to see. It might be expecting to get played out. And like those little extra side pieces are not inconsequential. And let me say that again. The little things matter, basically. All the different aspects. So you have here we go. A Fluttermane. Is that a Fluttermane? It doesn't look like the icon for it, but yeah. They're coming in as like a not a final stage evolution kind of stuff. And like as further you go down, you're kind of seeing how that their choices are happening and where it's working, etc. So it's always fun to see. It's always an interesting read on the meta and how players want to attack, and then the mind game between each other is always a great time. So congratulations to Luca, congratulations to Yuta, first and second place respectfully in that division there. I think that kind of wraps up our Pokemon coverage. We do have an interesting story that was a disqualification on the TCG. Take a look at our socials if you want to see more info about that. We might cover it over there.